and we'll be ready to rock and roll. And if you don't mind, Kimberly, make me back co-host.
You should be good to go. I
Yeah,
see that
Yeah.
already.
I did.
All right, good. Yeah, I see it. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Welcome, welcome. It's good to see all of you guys. Charlisa, it's good to see you. Jonathan, always good to see you guys. Greg, Chad, William, 2 nights in a row, right? We were on a Zoom last night together. So excited to have every single one of you guys here. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, and actually, I am. If anybody knows where I'm at, Zach and Kimberly, you might can guess where I'm at. I don't know. Anybody know where I'm at? I am in the bottom floor of my parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So we've had a few parties down here, but so
oh,
I got to talk. I got to have a meeting with my with Schubert right before this, so he knows about this call and knows about the team. He went through what all was going on with all of us. He's so excited about what all is happening, and so this is this has his blessing and very timely for what's happening for tonight. So let's get going. Appreciate all of you being on, and we'll have others join as we go. But welcome to HGI
Happy
Thursday
birthday,
night
nephew.
Power Hour, and so excited to have you here. Obviously, this
happy
is Jody
birthday.
Humphrey. For those of you that hadn't seen before, if somebody's got a happy birthday going there, sounding excited, and
I
then
muted him before they started singing. I probably would have let him finish. So whoever it
that was
was,
strong. That was
we
strong.
need
I
to
don't know who
sing
it
it.
was, but it was good. But tonight, along with our key leaders, we're going to have a great conversation. And tonight, we're going to talk about how to recruit, the art of recruiting. What does that mean? You know, you can call it anything else you want, but the fact that you got to go grow and build a team, you got to recruit your way to it. You can call that by growing or adding people or whatever fancy word you want, but you've got to be able to develop that art of being a great recruiter. And I think you can really enjoy this conversation. You know, the purpose of every meeting is to always re-recruit those people that are on this call. So those of you that are on board, I'm hopefully I'm re-recruiting myself. I'm re-recruiting Zach and Kimberly. I'm re-recruiting Greg. I'm re-recruiting James. I'm re-recruiting all of our senior leaders, as well as all of you great new up and coming stars. But you know, we're gonna get into some things that I think are gonna really help you to really understand the value of what we have hold of. If you go read in the leadership format manual, which I would continually to make sure that you spend time at least weekly, if not daily, in that book, just to keep your mindset going. Okay, it's all about mindset. But if you go through and read that, in that, my dad talked about all the time about how this was more valuable than a McDonald's, franchise. And you hear that, and you may think, well, is that just something we're saying to make a big example, or what is really the value of this? And I want you to think about the power of this, and I want you to think like an executive. I want you to think like a CEO. I want you to think like a major business person tonight. So whatever else is going on in your life, clear the mechanism, get your mind straight, and listen carefully to what we're going to talk about tonight, because this is the best positioned business opportunity in the world today. And that is not some phrase. We're going to make sure you understand that. Okay. So, first of all, if you're outgrowing um, your team and you know that you've got to go build a team, I mean, for you to go become a managing partner, you got to have a team that's doing around 150 to 200 sales a month. So that means you got to have at least 15 or 20 good leaders with 10 people apiece. So you need to have a couple hundred people licensed. How do you start from where you're at to go get that? How do you go from where you're at to get over here? Now, we're going to talk about some specific things in a little bit. They're going to be points and ideas and concepts. But understand this, that when you're going out to talk to somebody, you've got to aim at their head and their heart. But if you hit them in the heart or the head, it does not automatically mean you're going to get their heart. But if you get their heart, you will get their head. I want to say that again. Understand, you've got to be able to go get their heart, which means, man, they got to feel like, wow, this is awesome. And then it's got to analytically make sense up here. But when you aim, too many people, when they go to open their mouth, and take that shot, when it comes time to pull that trigger and say, this is what we do, you will go try to sound like something's professional. You will go try to sound like something is so professional, you don't want to sound like you don't know what you're doing. So that's human nature. But I'm telling you, that should not be your first instinct. If you want someone to listen to you, what emotion, what should they feel, or what should they see from you to get them interested? Give me some feedback. If you want to go get somebody interested in this business,
Interest.
what's that?
Interest in them.
Caring.
One is yes, hey, that's a great point.
Care about them.
Yeah, and absolutely. The more you care about somebody and show interest in them, yes, they're going to be interested in what you're doing. Great answer. Okay. What else?
Enthusiasm.
Number one thing is enthusiasm.
Ding, ding, ding.
They've got to feel the enthusiasm. I'm telling you, they got to feel like clarity, surety, and enthusiasm. The reason we're going to give you some facts and figures tonight that hopefully are going to change your life in a big way. And I think we're going to say some things tonight that you maybe never have thought of in the way that we're going to say them. Very rarely do we throw that out there, but I think that's going to happen tonight. Okay. But as good as some of these facts and figures are, they do not matter until, just as we said before, people know you care about them sincerely. And number two, that you're on fire with enthusiasm, because that is the number one job skill. I mean, Helen Keller believed in that. That lady overcame every obstacle known to man to be an incredible person just because their enthusiasm was so powerful. So enthusiasm, strong, clear. And listen, people are looking to follow a leader, and they're looking for people to follow. The internet is full of people that are not the most competent people, but have great followers because they say their message loudly with enthusiasm that people to follow. So number one thing is to be you have enthusiasm. And I'm telling you right now, you got to look at that as a skill. Most people do not look at that as a skill. Think about the word skill. Skill is something that you've honed, you've crafted, you've worked on. It has got to be something that you work on, and something that you work on, I had a kind of a low energy afternoon for some reason. I think it's allergies, and I got a lot of stuff going on. But I got up before this call. I said, I got to go through some exercises because I can't lay an egg on this call. I got to come in here guns a-blazing. I can't be telling you to go talking all about enthusiasm and me come in here dragging. So it's something you've got to work on, is to have that enthusiasm. And there's ways to work on that. You got to make sure you have your goals, and you got to make sure you're reading your written statement. So enthusiasm. And then you got to care about those people. And then you got to have a clear message. Understand that, it used to be, if you watch some of the older shows, like if you watch TV shows like Breaking Bad or some other shows that were from that time frame, okay, 10, 15 years ago. They were like a slow burn when they were building, and a lot of people like those shows. But a lot of the younger crowd comes in and watches them. They don't get it. Why? Because they're so used to that. If it's not action right now, if it's not hitting them fast, they're not going to listen. So understand in today's world that once you get past that enthusiasm, and they know that you care about them, that when you come in and you do make your case as to why this is the place, then you've got to be able to articulate it, okay? And you got to have this confidence. You've got to have a business confidence, not just a I'm fired up, I'm going to follow these guys, I don't know what's going on. Yes, you have to have that at the beginning, but it quickly has got to become to a quickening where you're sure, you go out, it's just like whatever religion you're in, you might show up at the church and catch the spirit and like it for a little while because you like the preacher. But if you're going to stay, you got to do some reading, and you got to come to where you believe whatever they believe. And it's the same thing here, that you've got to come in and you got to start studying and getting excited. So here's the first formula. Work on your enthusiasm. Number two is to be able to have you caring about people. But if you really want people to listen to you, what's the number one thing you can do above all? And that is to make money. If you come in and you're successful, they will smell it. They will feel it. They don't want you to leave them behind. They'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, Crystal got paid. Crystal's got a team built. What's William got going on? I don't want to be left behind. So you got to make money, go become successful, and they will line up to follow you. Literally today, James, I don't know, if I can tell that story or not, but James had a guy on the phone today that I think came pretty close to really getting this guy recruited, who was the guy who walked him to the door to exit his last company. Now, that's pretty cool, so because he didn't burn any bridges. And why? Why is it? It wasn't any facts and figures. James could not have spouted a fact or figure to get him. It's because that guy heard, quote unquote, that James was crushing it. That overcame everything else that the guy says, hey, talk to me. What do you guys have going? So that's your first thing. Be clear, excited, go become successful, and then care about people. Okay, now then, once you get into this and you start talking about what makes us different, and I'm looking forward to this conversation because I invite Greg, James, Zach, and Kimberly to be involved in this conversation as we go. And even Sheena, who's been around, and Omar, you guys, if somebody has something to add to this as we go, that's fine, okay? But I want to point out a few things to you that maybe you haven't never really thought of. And I've come to really understand them in today's world, okay? People in today's world, if they come in to build a business, and I'm asking questions, so don't feel like there's bad answers. When you're looking for a business, what kind of business are they looking for? What are some things they're looking for in a business?
Work
Cash
remote.
flow.
First of all, cash flow, making money, working for themselves, working from home. What else?
Success.
Culture.
Success. What else?
I say culture.
They're looking for a culture, but from in the business, they're also, let me tell you something else they're really looking for. If somebody's a pretty sharp customer, they're looking for something that looks like a safe harbor in a crazy world. Because they want to build a business that one market change or one leader making a stupid decision doesn't wipe out. Crystal, as much as I try to be a great leader for Crystal, and I feel like I am, I don't want this to be based on me. It can't be just based on a person. It's got to be based on a rock. And I want you to understand some things in a few minutes, that in today's world, that a lot of people that are looking with turbulent industries that are in all kinds of chaos, whether it's the real estate industry going through confusion with what's happening. One was with the tough market, low inventory, but then you throw on top of it confusion about commission. That's got them confused. But then you go through in all these other industries when people are on the move. And I'm telling you something, if you do not think everybody's on the move right now, you have lost your mind. Everybody. We're talking to guys who run companies, people who are doing all kinds of things. They are looking. And when they're looking, you need to be making sure they look to you for answers, okay? Kimberly did a good example the other day about her brother who bought a product that he wasn't aware it was something that we did. But the same thing can be true on the opportunity. The last thing you want is for somebody to go join something that they didn't know you could have been the one to go join to, okay? So when you're looking at HGI, and I'm not just because, and I'm not talking about emotional, touchy-feely things, of which, by the way, mean a lot to me. I love the touchy-feely things. I love the emotions. I love all this kind of stuff. But from a business point of view, there are some things that you probably hadn't really thought about. What is a differentiator? A differentiator is something that makes something incredibly different. It's just like in pro football, no matter what happens, the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to be there at the end because of one reason. What is that? Patrick Mahomes, right? They got somebody different. They got a great coach, and they got three things: Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and they got Superman playing quarterback. So, what makes us different? I mean, what really not just because we said it's different. What makes us different, and why does it make us different? I want to get into a real business conversation. Why should somebody come uproot where they're at to really to hitch their wagon to us? So what's the first thing that we have that makes us different?
Huber Humphrey's LFS.
Okay, exactly. So let's but I want to do a deep dive on this, okay? we have Hubert Humphrey. And when we say that, yeah, it's awesome that we have him as a person, but we also have him as a brand, as a Hubert Humphrey, meaning all of us, the history of these companies, and the LFS. Okay. Now listen carefully. I want you to get some things that you don't understand. There are some people on this call, specifically Zach and Kimberly, who could go has run their own company and could go run their own company at any time. Greg has partnered and built big teams with AIG outside of us. Sheena is a multi-successful business owner on her own without us. Why do we choose to be here? It's not just because, we like something. It's because there's business reasons. Why is the Hubert Humphrey thing such a big deal? Tell me some reasons you think it's such a big deal.
It's a track record, Jody. I mean, obviously, when you're looking at a company and you're looking at a leadership team, you want to evaluate that leadership team and look what have they done in their past, And I sell Hubert like you can't begin to imagine on every bop that I do, because I literally say this, Jody. I'll say I challenge you to go find a leadership team with this kind of track record in our industry or any industry out there, And obviously, when you've gone and you've built 2 multi-billion-dollar companies and now building the third here, it gives people that confidence. It gives them that vision of knowing, hey, look what these guys have already done. I feel good about coming here because I know they can do it again. Whereas that might not be the case if they're looking at some other opportunity.
No, absolutely. And
Jody, I wanted to just jump back to something that you just said. People are looking for something stable. Hubert Humphrey provides the feeling of stability. He's been doing it for all these years, been successful at it. It's stable.
By the way, this is a great example of duplication, because you just, from Robert, who was quoting Greg, and I love this. And I know Greg's gonna be happy to hear that, because you're exactly right. Okay, so listen to why this is so important. Okay, I want you to, from a business perspective, understand what this means. Okay, you know what it means to have his leadership. First of all, you understand that he's shown that the system's timeless. Someone can't say, oh, it won't work. He's 80 years old. It won't work going forward. Well, nothing's changed. He was able to do it in the 80s. The system worked in the 80s. It worked in the 90s. It worked in the early 2000s. It will work now. It has nothing to do with time. So that's proven. Okay. But listen to this part. And I'm just really starting to understand the enormity of what I'm getting ready to tell you. Who else does Hubert's reputation? Do you understand what it provides you with our carriers? Do you have any comprehension of what happens is the respect that comes with that name and that system to when you go to AIG? I mean, just think, you go out on your own and the AIG is going to look at you a certain way or whatever, and you bring in Babe Ruth. And listen, I watch how these carriers deal with Hubert. I watch how integrity interacts with Hubert. So that reputation, the leverage of that reputation, gives us things that you cannot comprehend, that no one else. And Greg was right that not only is it doubtful, I don't know, there is no one else that has done anywhere near what has happened on multiple occasions. And there's some successful people out there that have built good businesses, but none of them on multiple times and created so much wealth for so many people. And in the industry right now, you got to understand that stability system. We're explosively dependable. That I don't know what a word is for that, but that is what we bring people. We bring all the sexiness of Cyberzoos with the stability of in a world where you need. The question is, who do you want at the helm? Who do you want, with their finger on the button to push what's going to go on Because it's crazy. There's new laws being written, there's new products being written, there's crazy stuff that happens that you've got to have somebody that knows what they're doing, because you do not want to go build this. All the effort it takes to build a great business, you know how hard it is. It takes effort. The last thing you want to do is go build a business and have any doubt that it's not going to last. And guys, that is a major, major 20 exclamation point issue, not just because, oh, he's built two companies, but what it means in the world, the leverage that it gives us with our carriers, our providers, all the people that are around us. That's how important that is. So, Zach, I always love your comments on these things. So give me a little bit of feedback on this.
Well, I feel like that, like you said, we've been around the block once or twice, and it's the reason we're here is because you articulated very well the vision of what Hubert brings to what we needed. And I made a phone call, and I told this story a couple times to somebody that was president of a broker dealer at that point in time that came from the WMA days. That was a good friend of mine. And I said, Kimberly and I are thinking about getting into business with Hubert Humphrey and joining up with HGI. What do you think? And he said, do it right now. Don't ask any more questions. And every time that man opens his mouth, listen, take notes, because you will never know when the next bomb is going to drop. And he wasn't affiliated with HGI. He's not affiliated with HGI now. He was affiliated with Hubert when he started in the industry.
Hubert made him into who he is.
And created. And so I think that, the stability and the track record, and you talk about integrity. I might ramble a little bit here, but there were several things that came to mind while you were talking. And one of them is that I bet there's some sort of a checklist that integrity has. And if it's somebody that was in business with Hubert or spun off of Hubert at some point in time, I think they probably get a little check mark in there. We're looking to acquire these companies because of the roots that they come from, and because of the fact that they probably built that on a similar foundation than what Hubert's built his companies on. I tell people all the time when it comes to HGI that I've been licensed 6 different ways. I've been with multiple different companies. We've run our own, and I've never been somewhere where I could truly do what was best for the client without having to sell them something that I was told to sell. And HGI is the first time in 20 plus years that I've been able to literally say I can sit down with a client tomorrow, and whatever they need, I can fill that need. I don't have to change their mind. I don't have to take a left turn to try to talk them into something. And since overall I'm an educator, I'm not a salesperson. I like to teach people. Now I can teach them about all these different options, all these different products, and they can pick. And I can guide them in that process. We've talked about the R&D position and what you can do, and the only place you can make the kind of money that you can make with the investment of time and a very minimal amount of money. We've even broken down what that $200 includes now, and it's insane. We're
going to come back to that actually in a few minutes, because I actually want to come back to that point, guys, because listen, I want to tell you how important this is. Once you've got somebody's attention, you then got to make sure that immediately you have somehow got to let them know this is different than anything that they have seen. It's like when I met Crystal, she's coming in, she's in the business, she's with another company. We got similar products. We're with integrity too. And somehow I have to say, look, hang on. This is not that. This is not where you've been. And when you've got to have people know that. So you got to be bold in saying that and then delivering what's different. Okay. So having that track record, and listen, these guys the guy that Zach and Kimberly were talking about who made their comment, and other people I know of, these are competitors. These are people that would like to say, no, don't follow him. I mean, but out of straight out respect to the OG of the whole thing, you see this incredible respect. I mean, I've watched the guys who head up companies with 3 letters that we all know, that some of them that Taurus came from and Crystal came from, and some of these other places. And these are some pretty strong, persuasive guys. For them to get up and stand for Patrick, but David to get up at the integrity meeting and to take his time to talk about my dad. Those are powerful things. I mean, that tells you what we have. But it's not because, listen, it's real important you understand this. It's not because, oh man, Schubert's awesome. Yes, he is. I love him, obviously. But it's because of the business power of what it is. It's that leverage. It's our heat shield. That's what the words I'm using, because I was talking to a lady. Mauricio's got this one lady that we were recruiting who's just like incredible. She on her own is trying to figure out how to build like a little mini HGI. And I said, yeah, but what are you going to do when you get close to the sun? What are you going to do when the winds blow? What are you going to do if compliance comes after you? What happens if what if one of the guys in the field does something stupid and you get sued? You don't think stuff happens? Stuff happens. And you've got to have somebody sitting there at the helm who knows what the world to do. Hard decisions, deciding what commissions need to be what. What if you need to reduce commissions? You better have somebody who knows what they're doing to tell the field. And so we have that leader. Okay, so that's that. What else do we have that no one else has right now?
Technology.
Okay, I'd say right there, the next thing would be the fact that now
Equity.
that we have CyberZeus, yeah, thank you. I was hoping somebody'd say me, but it's yes, that's true. But you know what? When you say Hubert would say that means Aki, that means me, that means Zach and Kimberly, that means all of us. Okay, so yeah, we have us. Okay, and we're the best we've ever been. So that is a huge deal. I can look somebody in the eye and say, look. If WFG took their very best people, if they could have Rich Tolley at his height come along with Monty Holm and Jeff Levitan and all these guys at their very best, there's some bad mamma jammas. But they are not. They're long since not doing anything. If Patrick David had come down and field trained Crystal on his own, I'd have said, hey, go stay. But they're not. Guess what? I am. We are. Everybody on here, we're the ones, we are the front line. And that is our biggest strength. We are the front line. And that's what makes us incredible. But listen on this technology play, because you gotta say things to people that are like, wow, that's powerful. This technology play is phenomenal because everybody knows technology is the way to go. But you have to articulate things that we people clearly hear. You can't just go, we got Hubert. Well, good for you. You got Hubert. You got to tell somebody what that means. This guy's an icon in the industry. This is why. So work on getting those things down. And on technology, you can't just say, oh, we got CyberZeus. You got to say, look, everybody else in the industry is trying to figure out technology. They're going over here on one side. They're every person as they start in a business knows they want to be the king or queen of TikTok or social media or Instagram or whatever. They don't know how to do it. They're not as talented. If you go watch Sheena on social media, she's a rock star. If you watch Rory, you think, oh my God, we got the greatest thing in the world. You watch whoever, go to Raphael, all these guys who are awesome. But what about us? We don't have them. So here with CyberZeus, now CyberZeus has perfected itself to where now a person joins our company. They get a world-class CRM. They get an incredible calendar system. They get over 1,000 videos at Mauricio. Did anybody catch how much money it would have cost to make those videos Mauricio talked about Wednesday?
$500,000.
Yeah.
I stopped, wrote it down because he said, look, if you were to stop, I'm going to make all these videos that I have got in here for you. And we hadn't even stopped to talk about that IUO video he showed. There was a time, Kimberly, we would have thought that was the greatest announcement of a year. We've begged for that.
I think it was a pretty good one.
It was. And so we're just blow right through it like, oh, but you understand that technology package, which is now turnnkeyed and is free for somebody to join. And just so everybody's clear, if you go to CyberZeus in the back office, every tab on the left in the bottom right, there's a little video thing. And I watched half of them last night. Go watch them, okay? You'll know how to use it. But that is an incredible piece. That is a differentiator. You got to have something like, I never seen this. This is cool. And so that is another piece. Those two things absolutely set it apart. And then the other piece that is a differentiator, as in no one else has, is that we are the only way for somebody to get the opportunity to get integrity stock without being a managing partner. In other words, the only way everyone in the regular world right now can get stock within that company, which we believe in 1,000%, is either to be an employee for them, which you're not going to go to Dallas and become an employee of of the company, or you're going to build a company to where you're making $500,000 to $700,000 and they buy you and you become a managing partner. Well, most of you are not going to have time to go become a managing partner when it may take you a year or 2 years to go do that. Okay. So the only other way to do it is through us. It's because we as a company have made the decision to take a large percentage of what we have gotten from them, put it into a pool for people that are making 50,000 and above to get a piece of the pie. So listen, don't go detailitis on this. Just say, hey, look, we are the only company where we have decided to give the field an opportunity to participate in the stock that we received from Integrity. That's how you say that. If you go off into a whole lot of other stuff, you're on your own. I'll deny I ever knew you. So just that's all you need to say is that. And you understand those are 3 nuclear bombs. Those are not the things we started with. Those are things that are life-changing. The fact you build this here, it's going to last generational. And you know what? Primerica may not be the greatest story for some of us in the world today or WFG, but you know what? I'm proud of them because they've lasted 40-something years and 30-something years, and they're just rocking on.
Jody, can I just add? That's a great point.
Absolutely.
Because think of all the other major insurance carriers that have since come into existence and have since left the industry because they went bankrupt and the Department of Insurance comes in to have to take over. I mean, the fact that there's turmoil out there. There's waves out there in the ocean of insurance world, and I think that again, that's just a true testament to Hubert being the captain of navigating that ship for 40 years.
It is, and listen, and if you get something big enough, it almost can't be stopped. Seriously, Primerica is so big that they can take a machine gun to one of their conventions and walk out bigger than everybody else. It's just if you get that big, and that's our goal, is to have every one of you so big that your business is going to last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And that's the moment we have. Because you think about that, Primerica stock is $250 a share on a company that has marginal persistency selling one product. Just let that soak over you for a minute. That's just crazy when you start thinking of the possibilities of what that can mean. So there are other differentiators, like our product portfolio and the fact that we have the insurance products and the money under management and even land banking and wills and trusts. And that is but that's a far fourth to the big 3. Because you sit down with somebody and say, look, you build this baby here, it's going to last. It's got that shot. There was a great example of this. The Chicago Cubs had forever been kind of the lovable losers in baseball, and they never couldn't win the World Series. And so they hired, John Lester was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, and left-handed pitcher, and they paid some crazy amount of money to get this guy on their team. And this guy stunk during the year. He didn't do that much, but then came the World Series. They get in the World Series, Game 7 of the World Series. And they walk up to him and they say, this is why we signed you. Because he had won the World Series. He had pitched the World Series championship with the Red Sox before. So they said, hey, you have won it before. Here's this ball. Take us home. And he walked out there with all craziness around him, rain coming down, won the World Series for him. Because why? He knew how to win the World Series. And that's why you hire these guys. And that's what we have here. So understand when you're out with people. Now, hopefully you should all feel like you're all Superman and Superwomen right now. I'm serious. I think some of you are like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. And that should translate into action. Don't just let that be a warm fuzzy, just like you watch some Netflix special for the last 30 minutes. Go act on it, get people on the call, but now go out with a confidence. See, you're letting your confidence be controlled by your product knowledge, whereas your confidence should be controlled by what we just talked about. All these products are awesome. I mean, James knows this, and I've been going through this. Other day, Torres is a great new star on the team. He got on the phone, he talked to AIG, and he's like, this is awesome. These guys, they got a great program. He goes, I love these guys. And then I got him on the phone with Al Zuckerman. He goes, oh my God, these guys, this is the way to go. And then I said, hold on, Then I got him to the phone with North American. He's like, "Oh my God, John Curry." I said, "See, we got great products. They're all good products, and I didn't even give him F&G yet, and they're just as good." So understand that that stuff should not control your confidence. Your confidence should be looking somebody in the eye and saying, "Hey, look, you build a company here. I like our odds." And then you throw on top of it the uniqueness of having the other heat shield of what Integrity's bringing to the table. And it's just staggering. And when you understand how big they are, you got to understand they're like this giant baby. They're not even a 10-year-old company that's a $20 billion market cap company that's bigger than Primerica and WFG and others combined. I mean, it's just crazy. James sent me something the other day, and I liked it. I had seen it before, but Integrity by itself is bigger than the whole network marketing industry. You can try that on for
Twice
size.
as big. Twice as big.
Well, I don't know about that because it's definitely bigger because I know because Amway's like $8 billion. And if you pulled out Amway, Herbalife, and a couple others, it would be no comparison. But with everybody, they're not as big as Integrity. That's just crazy. And that's with all of us just starting. Because there's nobody on this call that's doing 10% of what they think they should be doing. I think that's a fair statement. That may be an exaggeration of a high number. Everybody on this call, I know what Zach and Kimberly are going to do. I know what James wants to do. I know what Greg wants to do. And I know a lot of the rest of you guys down in these teams. And we have just started, and everybody thinks we're this giant thing. So I love it. And then at the end of the day, though, as much as people want to differentiate, is how you're acting that they're going to buy. Don't forget that. We got a great story, but you got to communicate it. I used it in Hawaii. I had a chance to speak, and I talked about how Ronald Reagan was always known as this great communicator. And he said, he goes, "I'm not a great speaker." He goes, "I just communicate great things." Think about that. What comes out of your mouth should be great things to your team, great news. This sounds crazy, but every time I come on here, I feel that. Winston Churchill saved the world in a bunker on a microphone whenever Hitler was trying to blow up everybody. If you've ever watched those movies about the Darkest Hour and all that, he kept them alive with his words. Well, that's almost because what a responsibility we have on Thursday night because you're on here listening. We got to give you something that's powerful, and it can't be fired up, rah rah. All that stuff's great, and I love it. But I want to come in here giving you some stuff to really move you forward. Now, on top of that, kind of go over to what Zach was talking about. Do you realize what the value signing up with our company is? For $199, let's walk them through it, Zach. What all did they get for $199?
You mean that?
Yeah.
For $199, they obviously get a mentorship program, right? Which is huge. It's a big deal. They get Zyberzeus, access to an amazing CRM that is one of the best in the industry, probably the best in the industry, probably unbelievably better than any of the other ones in the industry. They get a discount for their licensing class and what, $240 cheaper than what it would be if you just went outside of us to get your licensing class. Everything that they need to be successful, they have here, but they also have value that they don't have to go back and spend again, right? There's a lot of intangibles just from the business perspective, but think about what people pay for CRMs. Think about what people pay for coaches and for business mentors. Think about what people pay for their licensing class outside of us. Think about what people pay for the education and the understanding of how to run a business and how to run a team and how to meet with clients and everything that we give them, all for that little $199. To me, it's pretty crazy.
Think about
and their website, just to add that as well.
Yeah.
And
just a company website.
They get a payroll company that pays all their people, that they don't have to worry about making sure that people get paid accurately and on time. And they don't have to pay a single salary to do that. It is, when you boil it all down, if I wanted to go out and open an insurance agency, what I would have to do that, why would I not just plug in here and build? That's why I plug in here and build.
Hey, guys, listen, that's powerful stuff. You need to go back and rewatch this broadcast because we're giving you a straight out doctrine. I mean, what he just said is so powerful. I mean, you hadn't thought it through. You go try to set up an office. You go because most of this can be remote. You go try to have a payroll thing. You have to negotiate with the carriers. You have to go argue with the company to go get the money from them when they're. If you're just lining little Johnny Lunch Bucket out here in the corner, they may or may not send you their commissions. But there's no way they're not sending our commissions because they know NAS is going to be on the phone,
And
just wearing them out.
they're not going to advance you annually. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
And not to mention, you got to negotiate all your own contracts with all the carriers and everything else. And it's almost in essence, you're giving up dollars to chase pennies and getting started on your own versus with HGI, you're literally giving up pennies and you have immediate access to dollars. Immediate.
It is. And so we gotta, it's interesting because I do the Monday night calls and what a great opportunity those things are every Monday night. And it's usually a lot of them are very Indian centric, very Pakistani centric group because they're so successful in the business. And almost all of them say to a man and to a woman, say that they could not believe, and these guys know small businesses. They already know the math of what everything's cost them before. And they cannot even believe that here for $199. And let's peel back the onion a little bit. You go back and look at the first thing Kimberly said. Did they get the ultimate mentorship program? And you got to understand, differentiate. Remember, that's the word of the night. You got to make sure people know why that's a big deal because they're going to go online and they're going to have Grant Cardone say, "Hey, come to my seminar and I'll take a picture with you for $15,000." Literally, okay. And there's nothing wrong with it. These guys they're awesome. But what did I miss the $1 billion brands that they built? Not only that, go watch Grant Cardone's interview of my dad and see who he says is his mentor. Go
I
watch
have to
that.
chime in, Jody.
I knew
Grant
Sheena.
is now.
I knew
You
you were
don't have
going
to
to say
say
something.
this. Grant is now like anywhere from 150,000 to 200,000 per hour.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, listen, those guys are fine. They honestly, the value they provide is awesome. Okay, but it is a different thing to hear that if my dad wanted to, we could have this advanced part of the business that he could charge another, I don't know, $1,000 a month for people to say, "Hey, we'll do this one call a week where I'm going to come in and focus in on you." I could do it all day long. I mean, or way more than that. And by the way, I could do it. I mean, if you put Sheena, myself, Zach, Kimberly, James, and Greg on a call and we charge people for it, we could pay our bills just off that call. We're that good. We could talk sight unseen like you had never heard. A lot of you never heard Sheena. She's phenomenal. So I'm just telling you that we don't pull that stuff. Here, people come in, they get everything we've got. What you've heard tonight, we've given everything we've got. James is giving all he got to people he doesn't override. Zach and Kimberly give it to people they don't override. And I would do the same with anybody, wherever the case may be. Okay. So that's powerful. Now, understand that they get Hubert and they get Steve. And you get the power of what Steve Gross brings to the table, plus the power of what Hubert brings to the table is absolutely phenomenal on that. So I want us to get that, hey, we're different than anything else. It's a little shift. I was going to go more on some compensation things, how to recruit with it, but we'll move that to next week. But we will be going over next week. It will be going over some compensation things. Also, if you are dead serious about Zyberzoos, meaning that you want to really learn it and are ready to go use it offline, let me know that because there's some things coming up that we're going to put some people involved in for that. So, Greg, do you want to add anything as we go, buddy?
I just hope everyone was really not distracted tonight. I say that because I've got a lot of people on the call here tonight, man. I hope they're not watching what's going on with the Final Four and that they really took some good notes, man. I've been around this for 30 years and I sit here and took a page of notes, man. I absolutely love it and really appreciate your leadership, man. Appreciate what you do every week to bring something empowering to the team, man. Not getting on here and just giving a little rah-rah speech or whatever, but things that we need to be immediately implementing is the moment we get off this call. And I hope our team took it to heart, man. So we really appreciate you, brother, and great call.
Hey, you bet. And These are special times. We got the best group of people that we've ever had right here, and company's on fire. I was upstairs early and Aki talking to my dad, and they're acting like they're brand new, and we got a chance just to really do some significant things right now. If we listen, let me end with this. Just because we say we have all this, there's some big bad wolves running around out there that will eat your babies and come steal your people. I'm dead serious. To understand that if somebody, you watch these guys who are out telling their story. I mean, hey, Patrick's pretty good on the line, man. You watch him, he's a pretty slick customer. There's one of the biggest guys from WFG either left there or was terminated. I don't even care which one, but he's a very powerful, loud guy who's got his own company going. Now, the number one reason you wouldn't want to go with him is because he's crazy, and you don't want the wild man running the company. You want the wild man on your team, but not you don't want their finger on the button. But the point is, though, know that just because we know it's good, if there's a louder voice, Tony Robbins ran the world forever, and then Grant Cardone pretty much caught right up to him. Why? Because Grant was louder, faster. And then now there's other people going to be louder and faster. So you got to be a leader out claiming your birthright. Go be Sir Galahad. Just yank that sword out of the rock. Go be the one to go do it. Don't just think, oh, we got a nice story. They're going to figure it out. Oh no, it's a dog eat dog world. It really is. And so you go find good people, you go have them be successful and treat them right. So guys, thanks for being on. We're going to take a little 10-minute break, and we will do the bop tonight at 9 o'clock, and I'll